Hey there, IGTV. Wanted to be able to just recap here the move down to Houston, because I think for a lot of people they just want a little bit further explanation. And again, I don't assume everyone's listened to my vlog or podcast, The Crazy Asian, or The Crazy Asian Vlog. Both are described as Crazy Asian. So here's how it worked. Number one is with the partnership that I'd move over to Guardian, we hadn't signed any contracts, and unfortunately those two guys weren't going to sell me the practice. And in order to do a good succession plan, we needed them to start introducing me to clients like day one, and they didn't. And after 6 months, I told them, hey guys, you got to start introducing me, because you want to leave in 1 year. If they don't know who I am, we haven't had a good introduction more than one time, there's no loyalty that they're going to want to stay. And again, I've worked with succession planning before with other advisors, and so I know how the rodeo works. And unfortunately, they just weren't open or willing, whatever the case might be, to actually passing out clients. So and introducing me to their clients. And so we ended up, parting ways. And well, I told them I was parting ways. They thought I should still stick around. So I, talking over the family, we decided, okay, hey, if the job was really what was keeping us there in Wausau, we love the people, we love the community, and that was a very difficult thing to say goodbye to. And so we started looking out, wanted to something that was a little more strategic, leadership driven, training and development. And so I was actually even looking out of the industry, ended up interviewing with Seek there locally, a staffing firm. And at the same time, I had come down here to Houston. Folks are here, brother and his wife and their family are here. My grandfather lives with my folks. So a lot of family here in Houston specifically. And then out in San Antonio, my sister and her husband and their family live out there. And then my wife, her uncle and aunt and a couple nieces live out there as well. And so for us, it made sense. Hey, Texas, there's a lot of family that already exists here. We actually got married here a couple years ago. And so for us, it just made a lot of sense that this is kind of the, to have a look at some different opportunities. And so came down here, had a couple of interviews, didn't know how they're going to go, actually a few interviews. And then being a week here, that's when Seek had made me an offer. And it was a good offer, and it put me in a strategic position, leadership position. And so ended up making the move and the change there, and signed on with them. And things were going well. Really enjoyed the strategy side of it, the people building. And ultimately, what's the goal of the staffing agency is to work with companies, help them find talent, and work with talent and help them find a company to work with. And so it really became a good match. And then the companies that I'd interviewed with down here, one followed up with an offer. Just wasn't something that I was wanting to entertain. The offer was just too low. And then about 2.5 weeks into working with Seek, one of the firms I didn't think that they were going to come to the table did. And as I looked at, you do the Ben Franklin maneuver, right? Where you put down a T and you write pros, you write cons, and you do this and you write it down there. And we did that. I had the radio segment going on every Monday. You're on with On. Had some good things going from a consulting perspective, working with some businesses on some of their digital media marketing. I have a great network there. I'm an ambassador for the chamber. We love the congregation that we belong to up there. Just wonderful, warm people. And from a career perspective, it was good, the compensation package, but it wasn't great. It wasn't anything that was stellar. And company down here in Houston made a great offer. And the overall total package, the opportunity, very similar. So from a strategic perspective, staffing at Seek, but then here, the new company I'll be working with, it's staffing specifically for the more entrepreneurial, a very specific role. Gonna be able to create some teams from a succession standpoint, and keeps me in the industry that I was doing exceptionally well in for the last 13 years. So no need to shift all that talent and all that skill set into a different industry. I can continue to stay in the same one. The difference was in my previous roles as a sales director, we worked with, I worked with 26 advisors throughout half the state of Wisconsin. And so there's a lot of travel time. Being in Houston, don't need to have a ton of travel time from a distance perspective. It can all be done locally. Obviously, there's traffic, so that's why there could be some time sitting in the car. Which is why I still want to do my podcast, still do the podcast, and why I'm looking at doing, if I can get on some radio station. There's a ton of radio stations around, and seeing if I can do the business segment there, / podcast with Mark. I think that'll be really, really powerful. So we'll see what we can put into motion. So as we evaluated it out, it really became a spiritual conversation and a familial conversation. So at the time, my wife was visiting her sister out in Pittsburgh with our youngest, Jaden, and then the 3 boys there with my ex-wife in Indianapolis. But then the oldest went on vacation with my parents out to Hawaii. And so I was in Wausau working with Seek, and my wife was in Pittsburgh. 2 of the boys were in Indianapolis. One of the sons was in Hawaii. So, Houston, then he was going to go to Hawaii the next day. So we called up, my wife and I did a 3-way phone call with the oldest son and said, hey, here's the opportunity. What do you think? Number 1. And number 2, can you pray about it and let us know what you think? And then with the other 2, we ended up having to do it separately. Couldn't get them on the 3-way, but we ended up Skyping so that we can kind of see the reaction. So I was able to talk with the 2, the 11 and 8-year-old, and so was my wife, and said, okay, here's the deal. This is what it looks like. What do you think? And so overall, and this, by the way, if I rewind, January of 2017, before the youngest was even born, we had talked after leaving Christmas here from Houston. We felt like there was a pull for us to move here to Houston, but then all of a sudden we prayed about it. We didn't feel like it was the right time yet. And there's some opportunity for me to work with a youth group, and the opportunity to do the partnership came to fruition. And so it seemed like staying up in Wausau was the right thing to do. And so as we prayed about it this time, we felt like, this is the right move for us. There's some definite growth that will occur here. And then overall felt like from a familial standpoint, there's greater growth for the family totally, right? Husband, wife, children, 4 sons, and any other future children, best done right here, right now. And so for us, we made the move, told the company. They were extremely disappointed. I'd created a digital marketing plan, and so they might hire me on and to do some consulting work for them in the future. I made about 34 different videos on how they can and put it up on YouTube for them. And then the day, my last day, I actually created 6 different videos on how they can leverage social media. So basically gave them the strategy, spelled it out for them, and then also had a Word document that I'd given them, was able to open up some accounts and make some great introductions. So overall it worked out really, really well. The struggle is that it was just short timing, right? So I didn't feel good about that. Ultimately, though, the biggest thing from a time perspective was the boys start school here August 20th versus after Labor Day, the Tuesday after Labor Day in Wisconsin. So made the quick move down here, and it's been quite a whirlwind. So the thing that I would tell you as you're watching this is, number 1 is you got to know what you want. You got to know what you're worth. If you don't know what you're worth, then you need to be able to work harder and establish what your worth is, what your value is to the marketplace. And that's really kind of where I come from. I was able to move, I created the business plan to move me from Milwaukee to Wausau, the center part of the state, which is 3 hours away, to a completely different network where I was covering Green Bay, Wausau, middle of the state, Eau Claire, and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And there was 26 advisors. They did equated about 25, and then within that first year, we were able to have phenomenal growth, double-digit growth. We were able to create a few teams in that capacity and really got them to blossom in a way that was extremely meaningful and impactful and powerful. And that's where was able to hit club. Hit some good metrics there, outpace the compensation, which was a problem, by the way. If you're in a sales organization and you cap the sales, it doesn't make any sense. There's no incentive then for the salespeople to continue to go out. And so from a sales manager perspective, I had kind of gotten myself to a plateau. I needed to get promotion to a managing partner, which didn't exist in the area. or I needed to, they needed to pay me more money, which they weren't willing to do. So I think for a lot of people that they think that they go work somewhere, they work really hard, someone's going to notice them, is the wrong formula. We need to take control. We need to be proactive and move in a direction that's very, very meaningful for us. And so if you don't feel like you have a specific skill set yet, or it's still in the inkling, still maturing, then keep working. I think for the average person is they don't actually think about their skills and what they want to do and what gives them energy, what are they best at. And so for me, I know what I'm best at. It's creating a network out of nothing. It's establishing strong relationships from the beginning. It is sales and marketing that's face-to-face and digital. It's public speaking, it's leadership, it's strategic thinking, overall moving a business from where we are right now to the next level, and then being able to pass on that enthusiasm. So there's a great book out there called Strength Fighter 2.0, 2.0. So I'd encourage anyone to read that book, take the online assessment, and it'll break down your top 5 qualities of 34. So my top 5 are strategic, positivity, includer, activator, and win others over. So what are your strengths? Sherm's out.